doing today?
Doing awesome. How about yourself, man?
Can't complain.
Beautiful day.
Can't complain. Things are getting better every day.
Every day. It's good to be back.
So what's what?
What's what?
How you feeling? Doing all right?
Feeling good today. Yeah, absolutely. Much better
Better
than
than
the last
yesterday.
few. Yeah. Oh my
Yeah, I don't know
goodness.
what it was. Talking about Rafi and Ray's Pizza
Yeah.
brings me back to an incident, couple incidents that happened, and one I had to eventually wind up pleading guilty to. People cooperate, right?
Right.
And we all know what people they say, the word rat. Okay. So I'm talking about a mob rat. A mob rat is somebody to me who's the most dangerous type of person because what they'll do is they'll get you killed. Now, people are going to say, well, you send people to jail and this, that. It's not my job to send people to jail. Okay.
Right.
They think right away it's all your fault. It's all your fault, Frank, because of you, because of you. Well, I didn't make the law. I didn't, I didn't create the system. I didn't create the law enforcement or everybody else. There's a lot of things that go into it. Anyways, to get off that subject, because I know that's a real gray area, right?
Right.
To me, a mob rat is the most dangerous because what they'll do is they'll piss in the boss's ear and tell the boss something that'll get you killed,
We get someone killed.
get someone
Get
killed.
someone killed.
Okay,
Yeah.
and there's been mob rats all through the years of the history of the mob. The guy, even the book Machiavelli. I don't know if you ever read it.
No. I've
Okay,
not.
he who pisses in the boss's ear is the boss.
It's a very true statement if you
Does
think
that make
about
any
that.
sense?
Yep. No. It's logic.
Right. So when you think about it, all the history of the mafia, I can only attest to the Lucchese family because I was, heard all through the years when Tony Ducks was the boss.
Right.
He had his little mob rats that eventually got guys killed. And it went on with Vic and Gaspipe as well. So let me tell you a story. I'm on Prince Street one day, never forget. I'm in Ray's Pizza. Who walks in the door? This guy, John Petrocelli. I didn't, I heard of him,
He's
never
tied with
formally
the
met him.
Bronx, correct? That's the Bronx fashion.
But yeah, well, eventually he was with the Bronx faction, but he was
Okay.
originally from the Bronx. He was cousins with this guy, Tommy Panini. And from what I understand, he was very close. Him and Tommy Panini were very close to my Uncle Lewis, who was my father's brother that we talked about,
Right.
who was killed.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story for another day. John Petrocelli walks into Ray's, staring at me, and he goes, "Feel my arm." Puts his arm out
Hmm.
like his forearm,
Right.
puts his hand on my phone, on
On
he has me put his hand on his forearm. He goes, "You feel how much goosebumps I have?" He says, "You see how nervous I am? The goosebumps I got on my arm." So I said, "This guy's a
Is
nut."
he serious?
Yeah, dead serious.
Wow.
He goes, "Lewis is back."
Lewis is back.
So I looked at him. He said, "You remind me just of
Oh,
your Uncle Lewis."
okay.
And Lewis was
At least
as
know
he's
what that
coming
is.
through, the pizzeria.
Mm-hmm.
Rafi's telling me he's pretty much telling me that he's a wise guy with us.
Right.
At that time, I wasn't mate. But
Okay.
Rafi was letting me know that he was a wise guy.
Yeah.
So John walks in, and then he said, "You see this thing I got on my neck?" He had like a little horn on his neck.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a horn or a cross. He said, "Your uncle gave me this before he died." He said, "I never took it off."
Wow.
So I'm saying this goes deep.
Yeah. He's
He
he's
really
having an
had
emotional moment. This guy
he
right now.
really had a deep affection for Uncle Lewis.
Yeah.
And I'll get into stories as to why
Yeah.
later, different episode, whatever. I want to stay on this
Stay on point.
track,
Yeah.
right? Me and John, we exchanged numbers. At that time, they had beepers, like we had pages.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the days where you had to page somebody?
Yep.
You had
And then
these
go
little
to a
beepers,
payphone.
and sometimes you would put certain numbers in there for it to spell certain
It
things.
was the code. Yeah.
Yeah, the
You had your
codes, right?
codes. Yeah.
So John gives me his number, I give him my number, right? Pager, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I go see him up in the Bronx. He used to hang out in this bar called Knuckleheads. Good place.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was off Pelham Parkway. I could be wrong with this.
Yeah.
And again,
Cross streets.
I'm not a mob historian. I don't claim to be. People are gonna come back there and go, "It was on this street. It was on this road. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking
Your
about."
memory is the story. That's what we want to hear. Cross streets don't really mean a hell of a lot.
They want to
Really don't.
pin you down to like you're like a Wikipedia.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not. So, anyways,
The story is what matters, I believe. Again, little details. Everybody's
I
going
will
to
go
miss a
see
few of those,
so I will
including
go
me.
see.
We'll get into that later.
I will go
Right.
see him up in Knuckleheads.
Okay.
And then there was another joint.
Sounds like a fun joint. I mean, really.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Who
Like,
want to go to Knuckleheads?
yeah, Knuckleheads. It was like a comfortable tavern, bar, grill type
Yep.
of place, right? So we go up there, and John was like the celebrity up there.
Okay.
Because he was a made guy that was put in the Bronx, right? And everybody knew he was very close with Vic Amuso and Anthony Casso, Gaspipe,
Yep.
who were the official boss and underboss. And they knew that eventually he was going to be their guy up in the Bronx.
Okay.
He was due to be the captain as Vic Amuso. He was due to be the captain in the Bronx. And the plan was to put all the Bronx guys under him.
And make it a strong family, if you will.
Well, not only make it stronger, but also to keep tabs on all the Bronx guys for Vic and Gas.
Makes sense.
Right? Because they didn't trust anybody from the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
That they didn't trust anybody from the Bronx giving them the right, whatever was going on.
Information.
They felt like John was their guy.
Yep. And
John would be up
he
there.
He could be trusted.
He could be trusted. So everybody knew that was the plan. So up there, John was like a big breath of fresh air to the Bronx. Mm-hmm. And mind you, give a little history about John. John did a double homicide. He killed 2 people years ago. They said the scene that when he did this work was out of the Godfather movie, where Michael Corleone goes and has a meeting with the cop and
heads and the
was,
cop in the restaurant.
What was the guy who wanted to get them in the drug business?
Not Salazzo.
Salazzo,
right?
Yeah.
Salazzo, yes, that's right. He killed Salazzo and the police chief.
They said it was just like that.
That type of scene.
They even think that that's where they got it from.
Copycat.
They said that was John.
Okay.
That was John. He banged out. He's
going to make a clear statement.
Should I say unalive for now on?
Unalived, yeah.
Antonio.
I think we
trying to make this
what
a
do you
family
think's gonna
friendly.
make YouTube happy?
Is there such a thing as a family friendly content mob channel?
I don't know. We're about to create something.
Ex-mob.
Forget, we
don't want to be.
We
want to be nice guys.
We don't want to be in the mafia genre anyway.
No.
Anyways, so he unalived 2 people. He goes on the lam, and his wife, is just as tough as him.
Really?
Yeah, she's known to be like a very tough woman, right? So John, I guess he couldn't. He was on the lam for quite a few years. He had trouble staying on the lam because it's expensive. It's expensive to stay on the lam because you really can't. Where you gonna work? Where you gonna make money? How you gonna make money? You got to always constantly hide and all that stuff. He gets caught shoplifting in a grocery store, shoplifting meat.
Wow.
So John gets pinched for a double murder. Goes to jail. While he's in jail, he meets this kid, Gus Farace. Becomes super close with him. They did stories about this before, saying like Gus took him under his wing and Gus had to protect him. That's not the case. Okay. And nobody had to protect John. John was as tough as they came. These guys that report, they think they're reporters again. They see things at face value. They just take it like, oh, well, Gus is a bigger guy. He was on steroids. He was this, that. Or he must have been protecting John. No. John held his own.
Yeah.
No, John held his own. They just became really good friends. Gus winds up getting out of jail. Does something really stupid. I mean, the stupidest thing you could ever imagine.
Which is?
Goes on a drug deal with this undercover agent, DEA agent. His name was Everett Thatcher. It was undercover operation where Thatcher had I think it was an eighth of a kilo cocaine.
Mhm. And Farace's supposed to buy it from him, right? Is that how
Right,
that story
exactly.
goes?
So I was
Okay.
supposed to meet him and buy
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Instead, this moron pulls out a gun and kills him.
Yeah.
There's Johnny.
Shot him 3
That's
times.
Petrocelli. That's my old friend.
Yeah. That's Petrocelli.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna say, yeah, the guy's a murderer. He did this, he did that. I understand all of that, but in that world, my past life, my past world with the mob and stuff, he was a good friend.
Yeah.
He really was. He was a real friend to me. And a real friend to Gus too. We wound up costing his life.